32. 32 hours away.
Wait, say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
3-2. 3-2.
Okay.
Tres dos.
Okay.
That's it.
3-2.
That's it, man. We're getting close. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day to you, to me, to everybody. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, hanging out with you. Barrett's kind of blue. I don't really know exactly.
I don't know what it is. I even white balance it and it just turns blue. I don't know what's going on.
Weird, man. Weird.
Oh, see, it's him making fun of me the other day when I had audio issues.
That's right.
This is payback. I sent my spies over there to mess with his camera.
So I'm in that. I don't know if you guys are in the same boat. So it's probably in our area, in the Philadelphia, South Jersey, Delaware area, the Delaware Valley, as we call it. It's probably like 58 degrees, somewhere around there, I'd say.
Yeah,
today, right? Little rainy. It looks like the sun's trying to come out now, start to peek out. But you're in that weird in between, especially at night. It gets pretty chilly in the house, right?
Yes.
So I'm holding off as hardcore as I can, not putting the heat back on, and I'm getting pressure from the folks in the crib to put the heat back on.
I just came from upstairs, and it's exactly what they try to.
Yep.
I wish you would touch. I wish you would touch that thermostat.
So
Why?
I'm
You have
fighting the
AC
good
on
fight.
or what?
I don't have anything. It's off. It's been
Nothing.
off for the last 2 weeks. I've had it off.
That's where I've been. I've been off for like 2-3 weeks. We barely get any time for this just to be off anymore.
Yeah, off.
So
OFT.
Yeah. I'm trying to hold out as long as I can. And I just know and like my basement is, as you guys know, where the studio is cold.
Yeah.
So it's freezing down here. I know the second my wife and daughter walk in, I'm going to be just deluged with put the heater on. I don't know about you.
Oh, not only did I turn the heater on Monday, but I even put the wood in the fireplace and made a fire in the fireplace.
Man.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, Derek.
But Derek's the one that likes the heat.
Yeah.
Actually, Trish doesn't want heat on. She wants to be cold.
Yeah.
And as soon as I turned the heat on, it was Civil War City in my house. I'm telling you, it was, and it got to the point because my oldest daughter had the kids over here, so I had 3 of the grandkids over here, and we were going back and forth from the swing set inside, and my oldest daughter being the instigator. Ooh, Dad, it's awfully warm in this family room. They had the ceiling fan going while I got a fire going at the same time.
Oh my!
I'm
God.
like, do I have any say so in this house whatsoever about anything?
Yeah.
Dag Burrito, I appreciate that. I'm waiting for the cat that was talking all that mess, talking about I need to stick to football.
Ooh.
Yeah. So all right, let's go there. Barrett yesterday called that the Hawks would win over the Celtics in Boston last night. Derek and I were on the other side.
Yeah,
of that.
And dare I say, da.
That was an ah-da-da moment. You absolutely called it. Trae Young went crazy at the end of that game in the fourth quarter, and that shot that he hit that ended up being the game winner. But yeah, props to B. Brooks. I texted you as soon as it happened, man.
Yep.
I gave you your love, but you deserve it. You deserve your flowers, as they say today.
Well, you know, it's not. It had nothing to do with what happened. I mean, it was more so, as a player that you want to. You want to go out there and win one for the Gipper. It's kind of the same thing. Everybody's counting you off. You're in that foxhole with just you and your brothers.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of guys got sent back. You know what I'm saying? Because they got to heal their wounds. So you got to sit there and fight. That's what they were in the foxhole. They were fighting their way out of Boston. That's what was happening. They had to get the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it was, man. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a gutty win. I give him credit because it was like a 10, 12 point game. And you're in that when there's other options, like in other words, I was going to flip over to the Denver game and I'm like, all right, let me give it another couple minutes and see what happens here. I was this close to changing channels on that one because a couple of the NBA games were overriding one another. And I stuck with it. I'm glad I did for the comeback because it was impressive. That was ballsy. That was really, really ballsy, man. And by the way,
games last night were like that. It was.
I mentioned this to you guys. Terry's right on with this. State Farm Arena double booked the 27th, which is going to be with tomorrow night's game.
How do you let that happen?
With a Janet Jackson concert. Like that is someone's losing a job for that.
Yes,
guys.
most definitely. Because they just knew they were going to be out.
Yeah.
They just knew that they were going to lose, man. And Oh, dang, that's messed up.
Uh-huh.
But I doubt that's the same. I doubt that's the case, though. I just think that, you know what I'm saying?
They just did it a long time in advance.
Yeah.
And
but didn't do the math.
It's further complicated because Taylor Swift's playing the Mercedes-Benz Dome on I think Friday and Sunday. So I don't know. Maybe they could sneak Janet in on Saturday. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it.
But it's like 24 hours to set up, though.
Well, it's
That's
two different
crazy.
arenas. But yeah, you could.
Jeez.
That's not
it's
great.
two different arenas, but Taylor Swift, if they try to move it to the Mercedes, like change the date,
Say move
so
Janet.
you got to tear Taylor down one day, set Janet up one day, tear Janet down after her show, and get ready for the next show. Dude, that's a lot of manpower.
A lot of work.
Well,
everybody has their own lighting, effects. That's a lot of work.
It can be. It can be done pretty easily though, because I mean, you've seen it happen at the Wells Fargo.
No, they're amazing
all
those
the
guys.
time,
bro.
Yeah, but they take all day to do that, dude.
Oh no, that's one that takes them 3 hours.
You're right.
It takes them 3 hours. I can't.
Yeah, when they go just basketball to baseball or baseball to, it's incredible how quick those cats are.
Yeah, but
basketball to hockey and hockey to basketball is.
But when you're talking about the Wells Fargo Center, all they're doing is either putting down or taking up a floor. When you're talking about a concert, you got different platforms. You got lighting has to be a certain way for certain effects, whether it's something that's going to be on the outfit they're wearing or, smoke comes up at a certain time. They got to test it before they actually do it. Dude, it's like 40. Every time I go down and watch it, when I was at the Wells Fargo Center, I would watch them setting up for a concert. And then you have the artist out on the stage doing rehearsals while they're setting up, testing the audio, video, the acoustics. Is it stronger on this side of the arena? We got to balance this. Dude, there's a lot that goes into that, man.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. That's going to be interesting, man. And now.
John Dickerson, geez.
What do you say this time?
That screwed up D Gun as a Janet Jackson backup dancer. You're right. I'll get in shape for that.
Wardrobe malfunctions. Left and
right.
So they end up winning to the Hawks. And look, if you're the Sixers, you're like, thank you. It just buys Embiid more time. If it goes 7, they would end up playing on Saturday. Game 7 would be Saturday between the Hawks and the Celtics. So look, either way, you're buying Embiid more time. You're making Boston work harder to get to the next round. Like, it's just, this is a win-win. You love what the Hawks did last night.
Yeah.
And then now we're all going to be locked in. We'll all be doing our draft shows on Thursday, but we're going to be every once in a while. Hey, what's going on with the Hawks and the Celtics? Keeping an eye on that too. So it should be interesting. All right. So a couple other odds and ends. Phillies lose to the Mariners. Bailey Falter's cruising, and then he has one of his explosion innings, and they get to him, and the bats, relatively quiet again, so they lose. And beyond that, like I said, we're 32 hours out from the draft. We have a killer show today, guys. Killer. Brian Dawkins, Hall of Famer, Pro Football Hall of Fame, Eagles Hall of Fame, Weapon X, is going to be joining us in about 20 minutes. And then at 1:30, Sal Paolantonio is going to be joining us. So that is a nice little double dip today with B-Doc and Sal Pal coming up, and just so much to dive into. And, I made the mistake that I usually don't make when we're this close to the draft, when we're a day out. You know what I did this morning?
What's that?
I dipped back into the mock drafts. I started doing, I can't help myself. So I started going into everybody's mock draft 3.0, 4.5. So I started going into all of them. And now I'm as confused as hell. Like some people have, like, Tyree Wilson goes 2 to the Texans. Some people have the Texans trading the pick now. Some say don't overthink it, just takes CJ Stroud. It's crazy what's happening here. There's a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different options here for these teams. But I'm officially in. I've read too much of this stuff, and my brain's turned to mush for looking at all. But that's where I am.
See, I cut it off at least 2 to 3 days before the draft, because then it affects what you believe your beliefs are. And then by the time you get live on the air Thursday night, you go, so I'm going to stay where I am.
Mm-hmm.
D-Gun, I'm sitting back today, man. And I went and worked out, and I, put my little headphones on, and I went out and jogged a little bit, and I'm listening to 94. And first of all, Ray comes on. You know, me and Ray are like this. I'll be working with Ray all day tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday on the draft. Me and Ray going at it. And I'm listening to his arguments on who they should draft, O-lineman, and yada, yada, yada. And then I turn around, I listen a little longer, and then Baldy's on. Now Baldy's talking about drafting
Bijan. Baldy's all Bijan'd up. He wasn't before, now he is.
So I'm listening to this night, and I'm thinking, no, I'm not going for it. I am not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Nolan Smith is my guy. I'm on record as saying it's Nolan Smith. He works perfectly for this Eagles team. Perfectly. So
I think he's very likely. I think you're very likely to be right about him, Barrett, because he's going to be there, I think.
Yep.
You know, I'm in the try and trade up and try and get Jalen Carter, Will Anderson. I don't think either are happening. I don't think either are happening, right? There's a chance that Jalen Carter falls, but I don't think either are happening. But I think that could very well happen.
I don't know if the Eagles – I don't know if they want to give up their draft capital for next year. I think they're handcuffed this year. But I don't know if they want to give up. I mean, you got virtually 12 picks next year.
Right.
If there was ever a time to rebuild through the draft and hopefully you hit more than you miss, it's 2024. But if there's a player sitting at 29, 30 or in the mid-20s that they really want, I can see how he getting the itch. But, you know, this roster is pretty set with veterans, presence, and youth. A little thin at linebacker, a little thin at safety. I get it. They need another corner. But they can get some of those things in the first 3 rounds, or even if the 4th round, if they decide to trade out at 30 without affecting next year's draft. Because I think next year's where Howie's going to be trying, depending on where they finish this year, I think next year they're going to use a lot of their capital to try to wheel and deal and move up to get somebody he wants next year.
Mm-hmm.
What's the likelihood that he gets another pick for next year in the first round? Trades 30 for another pick in the first round next year.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Possible.
I wouldn't doubt it one bit.
I wouldn't doubt anything. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt anything. I mean, the least likely scenario is hi, Mama Brooks, by the way. Hi, everybody.
Good morning, Mom.
Chat. I see Duck. I see 31. I see Tyler. I see Dank. I see Chris D. I thought I saw Fitness Rebel earlier. See, I'll even acknowledge Niners. What's up, Niners? I see Fitness Rebel. Eagles has landed. I see all you guys. Whoever I didn't mention, I apologize. It's going fast and furious. But yeah, I mean, look, the least likely scenario is they just sit there 10 and 30, and that's, you know, how it just plays out. Some of that, though, in fairness, when you say that, you also go in with a plan, but you also are at the mercy of what happens in front of you. And that can go a lot of different ways. In other words, there could be someone you thought you had no shot and they're falling and they're falling and they're falling for whatever reason. Or somebody you thought would be there goes quick, and then you have to go to plan B. And plan B is, all right, we're going to trade back because we know the guy we like the second best on the board is going to be there.
Right.
It's just, there's so many different scenarios. When you're sitting at 10, you're in a very enviable position. But, you know, there are still 9 teams picking in front of you that you have to deal with.
The first round makes you find out 2 things. Number 1, either how smart you are, or number 2, how little you really knew. Plain and simple.
You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But I'm looking at like pick 30. Pick 30, I'm going in the direction because I'm saying this is going to be a different draft for the Eagles. And I'm going with an edge rusher and a linebacker at pick 30. I really think that Drew Sanders from Arkansas would be the perfect guy to put in our system. He could be a guy that can, you know, be a stand-up linebacker, 6 yard deep, read, react, go get the ball. You know, he's that type of player. But also he can blitz because he can come off the edge. To me, he's the closest thing to Micah Parsons in the draft right now. To me.
Micah Parsons?
Yes.
Wow. You like him that much?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Damn.
He's going to be a phenomenal player. Watch what I tell you. He's going to be a phenomenal. He really had to scratch the surface on how good. He's 6'4", man.
Yeah.
235 pounds. Runs like a deer. Can run sideline to sideline. Diagnoses things in his head quick. Can go make plays. At pick 30, I think he's a lock to come in and be a day one starter. A day one starter.
Okay. All right.
Well, will be on the bench.
I just think too, and we discussed this yesterday. Hi, Fitness Rebel. We get into these, like, they don't do this and they just don't do that. And look, there is some validity to that for sure, because it's been a long time since they did it. But when you have 2 picks in the first round, maybe that frees you up a little bit more to grab a linebacker, to grab a running back or a safety in the first round. Maybe it's just different if you're only using 1 pick in that first round. So I think 30 is really interesting in that anything can happen, and or you just trade out of the first round too.
Well,
Go that way.
mean, that's probably the most logical thing that they're going to do. If they don't use 30 and tend to package up and go down and get Carter, then the likelihood of them keeping that number 30 pick is kind of slim to none.
Right.
I mean, you can get a guy like, look what the Ravens did. The Ravens traded up into the first round around pick number 30 for Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's definitely something that's possible. We need more picks. We need picks bad. We only have 6 draft picks right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To fill a team.
Mm-hmm. And nothing in 4, 5, or 6. Nothing, and 4, 5, and 6 are valuable picks. People think those are throwaway picks. No, they're not. There are a lot of teams in NFL that are masters at finding those middle round picks and turning them into quality starting players.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's where your team is built, in those middle to lower rounds. Not the first round, not necessarily the first round unless you're drafting a quarterback. But the heart of your team is built in those middle rounds: offense, defensive lines, secondary personnel. That's where you find the creme de la creme. And Howie, I don't think is going to sit there on his thumbs, twiddling his thumbs for 3 entire rounds while everybody else is gobbling up players they have on their board. I don't
Absolutely.
see it.
And you're right, D-Gun. And when I look at it, where we're at the number 10 pick, you want to get somebody that's going to be a cornerstone type of player.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say get a Nolan Smith, because he's just going to grow, even be better than what he is, and grow into that, into the player that I think he's going to be. Pick number 30, Drew Sanders. When you look at him and all his intangibles, he is built. He's 6'4", 235 pounds. He's going to get even bigger. He'll be able to play that position for a long time. And when you look at it, I love the fact that if you have him, you can control him for 5 years as opposed to just 4 years. You want guys like that on rookie contracts, because once they get to a point, you can't pay him. Once an edge rusher gets to his 4th and 5th year, he kind of prices himself out of teams that have quarterbacks that they're paying right now. You know what I'm saying? You won't have the luxury of signing a guy like that because you're paying a quarterback. So you got to get value at that pick right then and there. And both of those guys could be valuable for this Eagles team for a long time. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about trading them or going up and getting somebody. You'll have somebody there under contract for at least 5 years.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
And by the way, yes, he played at Arkansas, but he spent the majority of his career at Alabama. Played at Alabama.
Yep. Yeah. But I don't, just because he played at Arkansas, it doesn't preclude you from taking him. What you look at is, who did he play against?
The SEC.
What conference are they in? They're in the SEC. So it doesn't matter if he doesn't necessarily have great teammates around him. Look at what the guy's doing on the field. Look, there's a couple guys, I think Jack Campbell's going to be a monster,
no question about that.
So there's a couple of those kind of guys who you could jump at, and would make a lot of sense. Let's face it. There's no way around this, guys. You're going into the season right now with an unproven Nakobe Dean, who, look, I think he'll be good, but we don't know ultimately at linebacker, and just some question marks in general. Not to mention safety, Terrell Edmonds and Reed Blankenship. You're thin at both of those spots. So is it crazy that you would address either one of them with that second first round pick? I don't think it is. I don't think it's crazy one bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. And obviously we talked a lot about running back and Bijan, and then we will bounce this stuff off of, Brian Dawkins and Sal Powell and what they're hearing and where they stand on this kind of stuff. And anything could happen. Anything can happen. And trying to predict or put Howie in a box, I think, is a really dangerous thing. It just doesn't happen. He's not usually that type. It's usually almost every year it's something you didn't see coming.
Yep.
And that's what I would just advise people who are doing there's no way they do this. They're absolutely doing this. I wouldn't say that.
Also, when you look at, what's going on right now, the number 2 pick with the Texans is going to throw a screwdriver in all this talk we're talking about, because they don't necessarily want to tie themselves to a franchise quarterback this early in his tenure as a head coach, especially when he doesn't think, and I don't think he thinks, that you have a franchise-changing quarterback in this draft. You know what I'm saying? Why would you hook your wagon up to a guy that's a maybe type of guy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's a couple of teams like Texas, the Texans, are one. Arizona could do a lot of different things.
Exactly.
With that 3 pick, 2 and 3 are going to dictate a lot. There's talk that Houston believes that this is how wild the Levis stuff is. I saw a mock today where they had Levis going 12 to Houston. I'm serious. Like, they grab a defensive player and they mocked Levis falling to 12. I don't know what's going to happen with Levis. I think a lot of this is BS, that he's going to go as high as people are.
I agree 100%. Smoke screen.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
More illusions as we get closer to the draft.
Yeah.
I like Ross Tucker's take. He just put out 3 minutes ago. He said, per reports, Will Levis is expected to go number 1 to the Panthers, number 2 to the Texans, and number 4 to the Colts. I'm confident that would be a record.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I went down the rabbit hole today and I'm like, you know what? Stop.
Right.
Get out. Abort the mission. Get out. Yeah. So
and when you look at the Texans, why not get that cornerstone piece and Will Anderson?
Yes.
Defense from Alabama. You know what I'm saying? He'll be there for a long time. And also he's only 10 pounds heavier than Nolan Smith, just so you know. 10 pounds heavier. He's gonna be man. I'm telling you, Nolan Smith's gonna be a good player, man. Mm-hmm. When it's all said and done, good player.
Yeah. I think defense makes a lot of sense for them.
No question about it.
Because here, what you could also do is just sort of roll the dice and say, by the time we get to 12, could Levis or Richardson still be around? Is that possible? And you could walk away from this thing with Will Anderson and Anthony Richardson in the first round, or maybe Levis in the first round. That's a pretty good haul.
That's a huge haul. That's a huge haul. And when you look at Will Levis, bro, he's a long way from being a starter in the NFL.
Yeah,
a very long way from being a starter. But he has that potential.
Yeah.
But can you wait on that potential? It's all the same. To me, it'll be almost the same predicament as what you did, just throwing a, dart in the dark and picking up a Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. To me, that'll be the same thing if they did that in the first round, bro.
Well, Baker Mayfield had that potential. All these quarterbacks had the potential. How many of them flopped? Josh Rosen had that potential.
Right.
You spin that roulette wheel on that quarterback, man. You better hope and pray and hold your breath and sprinkle holy water and everything else that this dude turns out, because if not, you're going to be the second coming of the Cleveland Browns in terms of looking at historically how Cleveland has botched the first round pick with quarterbacks over the last 15, 20e years.
Couch, all those guys.
Oh, there's been a million of them.
It's unbelievable.
I hear you.
And Will Levis, sitting there eating a rotten banana with the peel on it.
That's where I was done. That's where I checked out.
This is really Rob. This is really gonna gross you out.
Oh no!
Guess how he drinks his coffee? With mayonnaise.
Okay.
I'm done
with that.
Come on, man.
All I needed to see was the bananas.
I promise you.
I'm done.
No,
he drinks his coffee. First of all, how do you know that you would put the mayonnaise in coffee in the first place?
Come on, man.
Stop. Oh,
I'm serious.
I know. I believe.
Stream, am I telling the truth, Stream?
I believe it.
He puts mayo in his coffee.
All right. Oof. All right, let's do this.
Hey, the dude is built like a linebacker.
No,
first.
he's a tank.
Yeah,
He's a tank. Yeah. No, nobody's questioning what he looks like. But mayo and banana peels.
Come on, man.
All right, let's get a timeout. Brian Dawkins is next, so you don't want to go anywhere. We got B-Dog, Sal Palantonio at 1:30. We're coming out, guns a-blazing today. No pun intended. Derek Gunn.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. B-Dog next. Let's talk Bravo Pizza of Havertown. Yes, it's that time of day. You're starved, right? You're hungry. You got some hunger pains, some pangs. Yes, Bravo Pizza of Havertown, family owned since 1985. Alex and his great crew, they're open 7 days a week. Fresh food every single day. Flour flown in from Italy. That's how serious they take this. Their pizza's ridiculous. Okay. They offer 20 different styles. They have slices to go. I love the upside down, but here's the beauty. You name it, they'll make it. That's right. Specialized pizza the way that you want it. But they don't just do pizza. They have fresh pasta. They have sandwiches, wraps, wings, salads. Bravo Pizza is fully committed to the community. They have fundraisers for charities, for schools, for little leagues, where the proceeds go to these organizations. You can follow them at the Bravo Pizza of Havertown on Instagram and Facebook for daily specials and promotions. 1305 Westchester Pike in the Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown. That's 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center, Havertown. Give them a call, 610-446-3810, 610-446-3810. Bravo Pizza of Havertown.